Good morning, hey, hi, hello, and welcome to this week's Fiverific live craft and chat where we craft and chat live. Lots of chat happening in the chat. It's kind of what it's there for. If you are here, if you are watching live, please say hello in the chat, even if it's just once. I know some of you are lurking, some of you are lurking. We'll go with that. And you've got other things to do. But I would love it if you would pop in and say hi. Okay, let's have a look. I'm a bit short of breath. I was just running around like a lunatic. Minor, maybe not quite so minor, but a pet situation arose just before the live stream and I had to sort it out. So we've got lots of messages from Kathy. Good morning, Kathy. Unfortunately, Ecamm just... when the live starts, anything that comes in before the live just gets dumped in order of who posted it. So all of Kathy's messages are together. All of Leanne's messages. So I'm just going to have a little read over in the chat to see the conversation here. So good morning to everybody. I see lots of you pumping on that heart button. Thank you so much. Claire is reminding everybody not to forget to hit that thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you love the thumbnail photo for this video? Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Face turquoise covering eyes. Oh, I wish these apps would actually just show me the emoji. Luckily, I do keep the YouTube stream open so I can see that it's like the, turquoise. Anyway. I've heard that if you can get stung too many times in your life, you can become allergic. If you are talking about bees, then yes, absolutely. That's how I became allergic. I was not, and then I was. So absolutely. I was a child who ran around with no shoes on in fields of clover and constantly got stung by bees. And then one time, this sting was very bad, and it's been very bad ever since. How is it already the 10th of August? Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I am absolutely with you. I was looking at some stuff that's coming up. I thought in a couple of weeks. It's 2 days. But yeah, just lots like it's disappearing. It's disappearing. Bianca says, I know, it was only just Christmas. Absolutely, absolutely. Knitspin Girls loves my cowl. Thank you. This is the all bundled up cowl. There is a YouTube tutorial, and I have made it using the amazing superfine merino pack that the Australian wool store Catherine sent to me. So it was 5 different greys plus the purple and the blue. I love it. Now, being in Queensland, I thought I wouldn't get many opportunities to wear it, but this morning there's a bit of a chill in the air here. So I pulled it out and I've pulled it on because it is just... it's so squishy, honestly. Those of you who were at retreat this weekend, everyone got to squish the cowl. So everybody who was at the retreat, put in your squish rating of the cowl between 1 and 5. 5 being the squishiest and 1 being like sandpaper. So if you can pop that in the chat. I know a few of you who are at retreat are here in the chat. Josephine has to go back to work this time next week. Oh my goodness. That's come around awfully fast, Josephine. Awfully fast. Good morning, Susanna. How are you? Hey, Gabby. It's good to see you in the chat. Good morning, Leanne. There we go. Thank you. Leanne has put in the link for the Australian wool store. And it is the squishiest yarn. And if in the comment, like in the notes, if you can let her know that I sent you, that would be amazing. Then she knows, 5 for squishiness. Absolutely. 5 for sure for squish. It is just... so amazing. So I made a matching beanie, which I don't have in here. The pattern doesn't have a matching beanie as such, but I used the M hat, like THEEM, like M, short for Emily hat. And so if you follow me on Ravelry, these are all in Ravelry. You can go and check out everything I've been making. Thanks to my Ravelry conscience, Kelly, I've been trying to keep it up to date. It's a little behind since I got sick, but I'm gonna fix that. So between Kelly being my Ravelry conscience and Melissa being my have you finished a project conscience, this year I have finished so many things, and it has been guilt-free crafting. It has been such a good experience for me. Do you have someone in your life or a voice in your head that helps you? Like we all have the voice that's like, do you really need to start another project? Yes, we all have that voice as well. But do you have somebody who encourages you to try harder and to try better? I've got all of you guys, which I just absolutely love. So, and especially to Kelly and Leanne, not Leanne, well, Leanne for moderating, but to Kelly and Melissa for being my craft consciences. I love it. Absolutely. Our game winners didn't get to squish the cow. Okay, there you go. Bianca says, definitely so soft, not scratchy at all. I'm quite sensitive to scratch, so that's saying a lot. So, yes. Oh my God, yes, I think of Ravelry adding and Kelly as well. Absolutely, absolutely. Kelly has been on fire, and not in like a discouraging way, like a, did you add that to Ravelry yet? Because I want to look at it, because I want to make it. Like it's a super positive way to do it. Let me look here. Oh, Kelly's dropping the links for the pattern. So there's the M hat and there's the all bundled up cow. Thank you so much. Claire says, you inspire me to try harder with videos. Oh, Claire, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Kelly has free real estate in our brains now. So, yay. So that's awesome. So this week has been like, I've been still getting over being sick, right? I'm not going to lie. I am not 100%. And when I got home from retreat, I had a little bit of a back pedal and my voice sort of went bad again for a couple of days. And I mean, I'm still a little croaky today. And so I'm still not 100%. Like I've been sick for what just feels like forever. And I'm really over it. I'll be honest, I am over it. But at least now my brain is starting to work. So there was a couple of weeks there where I was so sick I just couldn't even think. Whereas now I'm sick and annoyed by being sick because I'm trying to get stuff done. So I'm doing some things. There's some things that are happening. So if you've been waiting on an order from me, you'll see that a pile of them went out yesterday. And then today, this afternoon, it's actually ordering in some extra stuff from Margicraft because there's a few back orders. And I'm just trying to get back up on top of everything. I'm just really far behind. The downside of running businesses when you are a one-man band is that the band doesn't play when you're too sick to work. So, yeah, I feel you. I started to get better, and then hubby brought a new lurgy home. That is awesome. That is thanks. Like, yay for the gift. And then also like my daughter and husband are away. They are on a family holiday with my husband's family and they went skiing and Abby, day one, came off her skis, face planted into a patch of ice in the shade of a tree. She says it was a very picturesque spot to sit while she cried and wiped the blood off her face. But she is okay. She's got some puffiness. But she's back on the slope. So she had a day in bed where she wasn't feeling awesome. But she was okay. It was just, it appears there's nothing broken. It was just a big smash into her ego. So she was really nervous to jump back on the skis. But she jumped back on the skis yesterday and she's skiing again. And apparently again today, I got a message this morning that she's heading back up the mountain. So that is really good. And that's one thing as a parent, like I just want to sideline on here. One thing as a parent, one of the hardest things to teach your children is resilience and the importance of not giving up and just to keep on trying and to keep showing them that it doesn't matter if you fail at something, that you can keep on trying. And as crafters, we live that every day. We screw up a pattern. We might throw it at the wall for a minute or toss it into the naughty corner, but we will actually frog it and give it another go. And that's the resilience that comes through our crafting. And I think that makes it easier to show it in our day-to-day life. Because that was actually something I said to my daughter. I was just like, do you think I'd be good at craft if I just gave up when I hit my first hurdle? Like, no, because no one's born amazing at anything. Some people are pretty good at stuff their first go, but then they'll come a cropper when it gets a little bit harder. So that's what's happened with you. You were really good like when you had your first goes, but now that you've grown and you're on different skis and you're on a different mountain, it's a little bit harder now. So don't give up. And so she didn't. And I'm so proud of her. And I hope she comes home having an absolutely fantastic time. She's got some war bruises and she's got a big puffy eye, and I'm not even sure if she can legally drive with an eye that puffy. Hopefully it'll go down before they leave. But yeah, I'm very proud of her for getting back on the skis and going again, because it's just one of those things. It's like that old adage, you got to get back up on the horse. And normally, the adage is so that the horse doesn't see your fear. But part of it is also for you to know that you just got back up on the horse. So yeah. I'm just having a look here. Back to Ravelry, back to crafting stuff. Excellent. I've been trying hard to add stuff to Ravelry. It was really funny, Melissa, when Claire's live was happening yesterday, and I was scrolling through Ravelry, looking up the Sierra patterns that I liked, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a really cute granny square blanket or a granny stitch blanket that I just saw as I was scrolling, that I was like, I need to add that. I need to go back and find that. And then later in our chat, you shared the photo. It was your project that was just like, oh my God, I need to make that with the Sierra. So yeah, it is just, it's just, I was really surprised. But at the same time, you do such beautiful work. So I don't know why I'm surprised, but I think it was just because I'm newly delving into Sierra. I was convinced for a really long time that Sierra had alpaca in it. I don't know why. So I avoided Sierra like the plague. And then at retreat, so many people were working with Sierra and playing with Sierra, and I actually got to read a label. And I was just like, okay, I can totally use that. But yeah, so I've started looking now. I haven't bought any yarn yet, but I'm starting to look at patterns. Yeah, Stella, I am so glad she was able to try again, and me too. I'm so glad she's back on the slopes, because she was so looking forward to this trip. It's been 5 years since I've been able to go skiing, and she was just so excited and so looking forward to it. And then just hearing the disappointment and the sadness, because she was just like, Mum, I just want to come home. I'm like, well, you can't, because you're stuck there for another couple of days. So you can either hang out in the motel room, or you can go and play in the snow. Go and play in the snow. Can someone grab? I know it's a big ask because it depends on if you can find it. Can somebody grab Melissa's link to her Sierra blanket and pop it in the chat? That would be great. So yeah, that would be awesome. And apparently Sierra is also great for weaving as well. There you go. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't have thought to weave with an acrylic blend. It's probably just not something I would have considered, but the colours are gorgeous. So now I'm going to say something. It's probably a little controversial, because we never do that here. I have to confess, I was a little surprised at the cost of Sierra, considering how much acrylic it is. But then it's also a bigger ball. So I had to sort of weigh that up. So initially I'm like, that's quite expensive for an acrylic wool blend. And then I've realized it's also like, is it a 150 or a 200 gram ball? It's also an extra large ball. So it's like, okay, maybe it's better value than I thought. Thank you. Kelly has popped in the link to Melissa's blanket, so you can go over and give that a big old heart for me. I've got to go and give it a heart and add it to my want to make list. But absolutely go and give that a big heart. That would be awesome. They are 150 gram balls. Thank you, Josephine. I thought that was something, but I wasn't certain. But yeah, that makes it better value. It's not inexpensive, but for what it is, it seems to be good. Leanne has said, I did see some lovely weaving on Ravelry as well, and a couple of crochet projects I really like. Oh, there you go. So I actually managed to grab a tissue just for the live stream, but it was right in the middle of my lap. So let's do this. In getting ready for the retreat and doing all that stuff, I did not do the catch-up row. So I need to do the catch-up row. I probably could have worked on it yesterday when I was crocheting the blanket that I am making out of yarn that I scored at retreat. There's a D-stash table, and I was able to do a trade, and I got a really big bag of Karen cakes, all in one colorway, and it's a really lovely colorway. I think I want to say sea glass. I could be wrong. Lisby is in the house celebrating 20 months of membership. Bring it on, Lisby. Thank you so much for supporting and for supporting for so long. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. And good morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I didn't even think about it, honestly. It wasn't until, because I had the other end, and I'm like, oh yeah, the pink's done. And it didn't even click that it was not the correct end. I was just like, yep, pink, awesome. Keep moving on. And it wasn't until I was laying it out on the table this morning at like 9 that I was like, that's not how I want it. Dang it. So I had to go in there and do that. So, I mean, I keep mentioning retreat. Retreat was amazing. We had such a wonderful time. Massive thank you to the retreat sponsors, which were Margicraft, Crochet with Claire, and the Gamer Widows. Just a huge fun weekend. Leonie at Stacey's at the Gap always looks after us so well. I came home Sunday night and I was just like, I miss Leonie already. I have to sort out my own dinner. Like, what? And so, having someone spoil us. And I mean, that's one of the big things I absolutely love about retreat is that you get to just sit and craft until you're called for food, right? And I'm not kidding. It's like breakfast is at 8, so you can sleep in a little bit if you want. You can, the doors are open to the hall at 7, so you can go over and start working on your projects or grab a coffee or whatever earlier. And then you just sort of have your brekkie. Then you go and sit back and chill and relax at your table and just work on your projects and laugh. There was so much laughing, and have fun and just relax and look at what other people are doing and walk around and talking. And just do that until Leonie goes, morning tea is ready. And then you go over and you have some morning tea and chat. And, it's just, I think I named the retreat really well, like not to blow my own horn, but I think low key and chill is actually the perfect name for the retreat. Now, at this stage, believe it or not, we have already booked out the 2024 retreat. It is currently full. But if you want to go on the waiting list, send me an email to sales@fiberific.com.au, and I'll need an email address and a phone number so that I can contact you if something happens. It's 53 weeks until the next retreat. It's a little later in August next time. It's on the 16th to the 18th of August instead of the first weekend. So it's a couple of weeks later. And, but a lot can happen in 53 weeks. So, get on the wait list and then if your name comes up, then that's when you'll need to start sorting out deposits and things like that. So just be on the wait list is free. So yeah, and if you want to go and look, I put on photos of the goodie bag and some and I made a little reel of what we learned in our little mini workshop over on the Fiberific Instagram. So yeah, it was just a really amazing time. It is in the same place again. Yes, at this stage, I haven't set up an alternate venue. I will, if we do end up deciding to have an alternate venue, I will still continue to run the Stacey's because I can't imagine having retreat without Leonie, and sorting out another venue that's fully catered as well as we're looked after is going to be tricky. So I need to do some serious research on that. So if you have an idea of somewhere local, it would still be Queensland. I can't travel around at this stage. If you have a spot that's a small, I only want it to be small. It makes it so much easier when it's smaller, sort of retreat venue that caters for people's food reactions and allergies, as well as just, being beautiful and picturesque and comfortable. I mean, I've gone to a lot of retreats and a lot of camps, and nowhere are the beds as comfortable as they are at Stacey's, especially not for someone plus size like me, where normally it's on some school mattress that someone my size just squishes it flat and you end up sleeping on bare wood or slats or metal springs or something, to the point where when I used to do retreats and work and sort of camps all the time, I actually carried a camp mattress in my car just to make up for the poor sleeping conditions. So I am a little fussy when it comes to my sleep. So the beds need to be comfortable, the rooms need to be clean and tidy and not fit too many people in a room, and the food needs to be lovely. So they are the things. Francis, I'm lurking today. Yes, you are lurking, Francis. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. Thank you, Leanne, for dropping in the link to the Fiberific Instagram page. I actually realized this morning I'm like trying to set up, right? And Macy is just running from one side of this room to the other and up over the desk and touching things. Anyway, I'm here, I was doing something on my phone, and I've looked up, and there she is pushing the camera, actually by the camera mount arm. Like there's actually a little arm on the tripod, and she's pushing it like with both paws. So I put a photo of that over on the Chantelle Hills Instagram. So my sort of more tech-based place. You know, not all camera people are created equal. So let's put the camera back. That was fun. And Holly is here as well. Hello, Holly. It's so good to see you. Are these not coming in order again? Let me look. No, they're not. Oh, good job, Ecamm. I love it. I wonder if there's a setting I could choose. I don't know if there is. Massive thank you to those of you that have hit the thumbs up. I very much appreciate it. I've just realized I don't think I have a link over in the Fiberific Fun Zone, just because I ended up running around like a lunatic the 10 minutes before the stream rather than doing the things that I would normally do. So yeah, thank you, pets. You guys are awesome. And how are we going here? We're doing good. I'm just going to have a little drink because my throat is getting a bit parched. Bob Curran, hello. It's good to see you. You're lurking as well. Got to get some sewing done. I've got to get my sewing machine fixed. I really do. I keep going, oh, I could just make, nope, can't. Sewing machine's toast. And it's just a case of where I live, there's no local sewing machine repair places. So I have to go on an adventure to drop it off, knowing I'm going to have to go back in a week or so to pick it back up again. So it's not ideal. It's not just, 10 minutes to go and drop it off somewhere. It's like an hour's trip, So it is not my favorite. It's absolutely not my favorite. A Vampire is here. She is celebrating 21 months worth of membership. Artsarg and I are lurking today. Awesome. It's so good to see you both hanging out. I wonder if you're crafting, what you're doing, but if you're lurking, who knows? So I hope that, you're having an awesome day and you're keeping warm. Hey, Queenslanders, was it particularly cold this morning? Because, please, New South Wales people and people who live near snow, just ignore the rest of this. But it just felt really cold. Like I've gotten up and I'm walking around the house. I'm like, it's freezing in here. I've put heaters on. I've legit put heaters on. I'll probably turn them off once the live stream's finished. But it was so cold, and I was just like, I nearly put the heater on last night, because I'm one of these people, I put the heater on before I go to bed and then turn it off, because we've got, it's a reverse cycle air conditioning. So I just turn it off as I'm climbing into bed. I don't want it on all night, not in winter. In summer, I'll be like, yes, please, keep me cold all night. In winter, I just need the air to stay warm enough until I've warmed up my bed. And then I'm like, I am in the doona. You cannot affect me, cold weather. But yeah, I just felt that it was, I mean, I haven't even looked. Let me just check the bomb, because I haven't even checked what the temperature is. You know, see, I feel like a big whingy whinger. It's 18 degrees. Like, but it just feels so cold. I mean, my house is not designed for cold weather. I know I've said that before. I've got like a concrete slab with lino on it. And I don't even know if they've, like, based on how old the lino is, we've lived here for 15 years. It was already cracked and damaged then, and we've done nothing with it. So it is just a little cold in my house, and I'm feeling it. I'm not going to lie. I am feeling it. I'm in long sleeves. I have my cowl on. I've got my thick track pants on, and I even have socks. You know, like that says everything. The second I've got socks on, it must be cold. Even my husband jokes about it, because I'm one of these people, right? I don't know if this happens to anyone else, and it doesn't matter what brand socks I'm wearing. It doesn't matter. If I'm walking around, one of my socks will end up all flippy and halfway down my foot, like past the ankle, over the foot, and the toes become all flippy. So I'm constantly pulling the sock back on. Doesn't matter if it's a hand knit sock, a commercial sock, a cheap sock, an expensive, doesn't matter. And the feet take turns, so it's not one of the feet has a problem. The feet take turns. Sometimes it's the left foot, sometimes it's the right foot. But at some stage, one sock will end up half off my foot, and I just don't like it. It's a simple. It's the short and the long of it is, I just don't like it. Lisby's trying to get stuff organised for Gympie Camp. Oh, that sounds amazing. That's another camp that really knows how to look after you. Great food. The beds aren't the worst. I mean, they're still camp bunks, but they're not the worst. But yeah, just, you know. Ouija's in the house. Hello, Ouija. Lycra? Do you mean like as in Lycra socks? Because I've tried those really thin. I don't know if they were Lycra. I don't know. But I've tried like the really, like, you know, maybe they were Lycra. I don't know. But same deal. All socks. One of them, in my weird body destruction thing, the sock just flips off, becomes a flippy walking hazard. I'm not staying at Gympie. Found better accommodation not too far away. Their access isn't great, so I'll be a day camper. Yeah, because that's got that steep hill to get down to the rooms, right? So that was always a little. I mean, I found it a little bit nerve-wracking getting in and out of the rooms with my busted knee, let alone in a wheelchair. So, yeah. Well, I mean, that's awesome, because there are accommodations for the working space and the workshops and the food, everything like that. That's all amazing. My only issue with them was their actual sleeping accommodations. So, yeah. It's always a little bit hit and miss. And, you know, like, you've got, like, cost versus expectations. Like, for what you're paying, it's great. Like, seriously. For what you're paying, it's fantastic. Like, a couple of $100 for a weekend, you know, like, it's good value. But I'm a little bit old and precious now. I bought Pear brand socks. Sandy, where would I find those? Will I be able to get them in Australia? They stay up and they keep the tootsies warm. So, yeah, look, I found, believe it or not, that the best socks for me, which still do it, but they take longer to do it, are these little ankle exercise socks. And they're just not the warmest, that's all. But they've got extra padding around the toes and the heels, so that keeps you know, everything a bit nicer. But yeah, it's bizarre. It's, you know, yeah, I don't even know what to say. Oh yeah, and charging things that need power. Oh yes, oh my gosh. Yes, there's like timeshare on the PowerPoint because it's like one PowerPoint in each room of 8 people. It might not be 8. I might be exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Whereas at, you know, up at Stacey's, each person's table has got 2 PowerPoints on it. I'll have to keep an eye out for them. Sandy, I'll check them out later. Pair socks. Okay. But yeah, it's just, you know, it gets frustrating. And like the reality is, it's Queensland. It's only going to be cold for a little bit, and then I'll start complaining about the heat. Because this room, while it gets bitterly cold, at least I can rug up. In summer, oh my gosh, it is not awesome. Let's just go with that. It is this room. Like I'm like looking at a spot on the wall that I'm like, that would be a great spot for an air conditioner. I've gotten a quote for it. I just don't have the money to get to do it. But the second I do, I'll just be like, yes, please. Thank you very much. I will take that. Knowing my luck, I'll save up the money for it and be like, actually, it's another $1,000 now. You took too long to save up. I never want the cold, cooler weather to leave either. And that's the thing. Like, it's so easy to rug up, you know, and we all make things. We are all playing with yarn. Like, I've been able to, like, hang out on the couch under my toasty warm blankets. My whole family have. It's been great. The summer comes along and, you know, I mean, our house is pretty good for summer for the most part. There's a few days, last year particularly, there was quite a few days where it just got that bit too hot for me to cope. But usually we might have a couple of weeks during summer where we'll really hit the air conditioning. And then other than that, it'll just be like a bit here and there, like through the middle of the day, just to try and keep the house from getting too hot. And then if we can keep it cooler through that section of the day, turn the air cons off at around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, open the doors and windows up, and the cool afternoon breeze sorts us out for the rest of the night. So, yeah. Yeah, Leanne, that's the thing. We do get to wear our makes because up here it's just like everyone's like, oh, let's make beanies. Let's do this. Let's do that. But it's like it's never really beanie weather in Queensland except for if you get up at crazy o'clock in the morning, like at dark 30 or something, or you're outside at night. Like if you're inside, you don't really ever need a beanie. And which, you know, I'm at home a lot. Oh dear. I've realised I've had a couple of days totally by myself talking to the pets. And I think it's showing. Just like, oh, can I hold a conversation with humans? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can. Actually, I went out for lunch yesterday and I had a chiropractor appointment yesterday. So, yeah. Those things happened. Where I spoke with actual real life humans, which was awesome and fun. But also, I got home from my ventures out, and admittedly, I did run around a little bit after my chiropractor appointment and stuff. So I got home from that, and I was just very tired. I'm like, okay, Chantelle, who is still sick. That was a lot of errands to run. And the really annoying part is I still didn't do the grocery shopping, so I still have to go out and do that. So I will get that done. And then there will be more groceries to choose from. Hello, scissors. We have made it to the end of that row. Okay. Oops, I'll give that a little bit more. I will have a sip of my beverage while you guys decide which colour you hope wins the dice roll. Actually, where are the dice? There they are. Alrighty. So into the chat, which colour would you like to see win the next dice roll? Because it's dice roll time. Roll the dice to choose the next colour. Okay. Shannon says yellow. Do you mean this nice bright yellow or the more roostery orangey yellow? Holly wants number 1, which is the rooster. Susanna wants yellow. Knitspin Girls wants purple. Just FYI, all the time, no matter what, she wants purple. Purple is number 3, so she wants number 3. Shannon wants something bright. Oh, so the bright yellow. Alrighty, so let's roll the bright yellow dice, and we'll see what happens. I think the bright yellow is number 7, Duckling, everybody. So if you want that, you've got to be pushing for 7 in your brain. Lisby wants 3. Leanne wants to vote. Leanne wants to actually run through a poll, so she wants 8. Alrighty, let's go. We have 5, which is Parrot, which is a really lovely red. Oh, so some of you at retreat actually got to see some of these colours in real life and realise how not great these cameras are doing at the colours. Like this one in particular is not doing good. This one here, that's it's a very good red. That one's much clearer. So yeah. Alrighty, let's add this Parrot into the mix. It's been a while since the red. Yeah, let me have a look. The last red was back here. So it's been a little while since we've had Parrot as well. But yeah, I think the yellow would have been good. I think the yellow, the Duckling. But yeah, so the actual camera is not doing the pink any favors. So if you can get your hands on the Flamingo, you'll just be like, wait a second. Is that the pink that you're using? Yes, it is. But it looks nothing like that. No, it doesn't. So you can go and check out my Instagram page. The photos of the colors there are so much closer than what you are seeing here. Do you actually have parrots outside singing? I don't think it's parrots. I think it's noisy miners. But yes, there are birds outside losing their absolute minds over something. I'd say some animal dared walk on the grass under a tree. But yes, we have a lot of birds. Like, if you guys remember the old live die sessions, the absolute hilarity that ensued from the birds getting involved, because there'd be this noise. It's like, what's that? And it's like, that's the pigeons running across the roof. You know, then you'd have the chickens making noises and the magpies singing. And yeah, we have a lot of birds around here. You know, it's like, it's one of those things that's like, don't you have cats? Why do you have birds if you have cats? It's like, because my cats don't eat birds. They stay inside, and Mr. Tibbles, who gets to go outside, he's too damn lazy to do anything. Like, he's hilariously lazy. And Jazzy, who was our old cat, again, she would go outside. She liked to sleep on the roof. She'd like sit up on the roof and go to sleep. And she ended up with the Crow Gang. We used to call them the Crow Gang. And the Crow Gang would actually come and sit next to her on the roof. And I swear they were asking if she was dead yet. Are you dead yet? Are you dead yet? And she's like, no, I'm not. And she would just get up and walk away, and they would hop after her. And so she would climb down off the roof and walk around in the yard to try and find somewhere to go and sit. And the Crow Gang would come and hop after her. And it was just hilarious. They were not worried for their lives. I mean, as far as they were concerned, she was a walking corpse. But, you know, this went on for years and years and years. So, you know, it's kind of funny how some cats, like, our biggest threat to the wildlife in our yard was Snowy the dog. Like, she hated pigeons a lot. I don't know why. I don't know why she hated pigeons. But she hated pigeons quite a lot, to the point where little Snowy, mini Foxy Cross Chihuahua, could jump in the air and rip a pigeon out of the sky mid-flight. And so I remember one day coming out into the yard and seeing bird feathers everywhere and just being like, oh my God, one of the cats grabbed a bird. Like, what? I was shocked. And I kept finding feathers. Like, I just kept finding them. Like, a couple of days later, there'd be another big pile of feathers. And I'm like, I've kept the cats in. It mustn't be one of my cats. It must be one of the dumb other cats that the other cat owners let their cats out at night. It makes me crazy. But anyway, like it must be one. Until one day I've just stepped out of the shack, opened the door, just in time to watch Snowy just jump in the air and just grab this bird and pull it out of and just run under a bush with it. And I'm just like, it was so bizarre. It was this little tiny dog just, gee, she could get some air and just rips this pigeon out of the sky. Now, I don't believe she actually got any other kind of birds. I think every pile of feathers I found was grey. And the magpies didn't seem to bother her. Like, we have this family of magpies that's been, hanging out in our yard for a very long time. And the magpies didn't seem to bother her. She didn't harass the chickens unless the chickens ran, and then she would chase them. So the chickens learnt very quickly not to run around the dog. And, but yeah, she just really, really hated pigeons a lot. And I'm not quite sure. I'm like, what did pigeons ever do to you? And she just gave me a look. Like, you've no idea what the pigeons have done. You've no idea. So yeah. That was my story for today. Leanne, that's right. You also have lots of bleating at your place now. How are the babies going? You got 2 lambs at your place, which were surprise additions. Leanne picked herself up some extra sheep for her paddock, only to find not too long later that they were going to have babies. And now Leanne is dealing with lammies. And one of them is a Houdini lamb. There we go. We're barring across. They're so fun to watch. I bet they are. It's kind of like with me and Macy. Like, I know a kitten is not comparable to a lamb because lambs are just, oh my God. Kittens are pretty good though. But Macy just cracks me up so much. I just laugh so hard at a lot of her antics. Although we have to have a discussion about, I was winding yarn, right? I was frogging a project onto a ball winder. And Macy's head was just moving like, I'm like, you're going to get sick. And she was just like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm just focusing on the yarn. And, oh gosh, I'm lightheaded just from doing that for just a second. But yeah, just absolutely hilarious watching her. And every now and again, she just put her paw out and just stopped the yarn. I'm like, oi, hands off. And she's like, no, hands on, both hands. I will grab it with my claws. I don't know why in my brain Macy talks like one of the characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy's movie. I will catch it. Nothing goes over my head. I will catch it. What's his name? I can picture him. David Bautista plays him. Can't think of his name. Drax, I think. But yes, in my brain, Macy is very literal. Drax, it is Drax. Thank you. Also, she can now climb up the sound blankets to the roof way faster than she used to. So I will open the door to the office. She hadn't been in here all weekend because I had this door closed while I was away. We had a pet sitter come in. And the second I open the door, she's run around behind it and straight up the sound blanket that's behind the door, and then looked at me over the top of the door. Like, hello, can you get me down now? I had to go and find a washing basket because I can't reach the top of the door. So I just sort of stand there holding a washing basket above my head until she jumps in it. Claire says, I couldn't stop laughing at Macy and Lou when I was at your place on Sunday. They are just absolutely hilarious. Claire got to see in real life a Macy Louis battle, which was just so much fun. It was just, I love, like, they're so gentle with each other, except they're also very forceful with each other. Like, they just run at each other and just cling on to it, like it's full on body slams, but then they're like, if either of them squeak, they both stop, and Louis pretends to bite her ears, but if he gets her ear, he gives her a big lick, and it's really funny. It's really funny to watch. Leanne says the lambs are chasing the chickens and they frolic and they're really strong and they already climb on the big rocks. Yeah, they've got to learn how to maneuver themselves pretty quick to defend against predators. Oh, I understand, Leanne. You got to wait till October before you can do your phone. I get it. Where are we at today? The 10th. I need to just go and check on something. There was a very weird noise. I'll be back. I have no idea what the noise was or where it came from. Maybe it was the air conditioner. I don't know. It sounded like, it's going to sound weird, it sounded like my Darth Vader bottle opener, which I've checked, it was in a drawer. So I really don't know. So that's what I'm thinking. It might have been the air conditioner. Anyway. Yeah, October is rude. Yeah, I'm waiting for Abby to upgrade her iPhone so that I can grab an upgraded iPhone. The one I've got that I use here for some of my technical stuff is very old now and no longer gets proper updates. It's an iPhone 7. So I'm like, come on, Abs. And she's like, there's nothing wrong with my phone. I'm like, ugh. What teenager doesn't want to upgrade their phone after 2 years? Come on. She's like, are you going to pay for it? I'm like, no. She's like, well, then you've got to wait till I'm ready. And I'm like, ugh. So, yeah. Yep. I feel the pain. No idea when she's going to update it. She's talking about doing it after the ski trip. So maybe, just maybe. What are you doing down there, little dog? No, none of those things. Get out of it. Give me that yarn back. Louis had hold of the end of the green yarn because all the yarns are over here. And he had it. Francis says you can buy secondhand phones cheap. Yes, but can I buy an iPhone 11 for $300? Because that's what I'm looking at. And I know that there's no viruses, that everything works. So, that's what I'm looking at. And if I'm going to spend more, I want it to be a more recent model. My husband is still clinging to his iPhone 6S. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one. Upgrading is hard. I actually love upgrading and just it's a treat for me. An absolute treat. I love learning the new phone. I love playing with it. I love setting it up. You know, like it's one of those things. One thing I'll say though is I've got to work out how to fix. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Francis. I can buy Abby's phone off her for what they would offer her for the trade-in. So as long as I give her the trade-in money when she's going to get her phone, then we're good. So I get a super bargain, right? Like so that's why I have to be patient is I want the bargain. I want the ridiculously cheap bargain. I don't want to spend $500 on a second phone because this is the thing. My phone that I use all the time, it's an Android device. I'm an Android girl. I like my Android phone. But I use an iPhone for some of my tech stuff. So I don't put a SIM in it. It just sticks on the Wi-Fi and gets connected to the computer and stuff like that. So it's not a $500 for like a daily driver phone. That's fine, but not for a phone that is not being used for calls or pretty much anything else. Leanne says, I loathe swapping. It takes me so long to figure it all out. I get frustrated as. I'm sorry, Leanne. I love doing all of that. My thing though is that I have to be super careful is I have a lot of like two-factor authentication apps and stuff like that. So I need to make sure they are not only there, but all of the stuff is set up in them before I ditch my phone. Because I've done that before accidentally. It wasn't accidentally. What's happened is my phone bricked. Like it just wouldn't turn on. It wouldn't do anything. I couldn't fix it. There was nothing I could do and I had to get a new phone. But that meant that I could not transfer any of that stuff over. So it made life very, very difficult. So now I have my backup system, which is a really old phone that I keep all my two-factor authentication stuff stored in. I say it's really old. It's still able to get full security updates. We made it to the end while I was chatting about phones. And so that if something happens, I've at least got that one that I can be like, oh, send it to this phone. Alrighty, back to the pink. Back to the pink. Something else that Claire got to do while she was at my house was eat a mandarin directly off the tree. Well, we did pull it off and peel it, but yeah, she got to eat a mandarin fresh from the tree. And it wasn't a bad one. It wasn't. What did I do? There it is right there. I'm like, what did I do with the hook that I can't see because my arm's blocking it? And it was not bad. The skin was a little not baggy enough for my likings to peel it, but other than that, it tasted fine. Claire said it was so yummy. It was. And Claire got to have Guzman y Gomez. Sorry, Claire. All the secrets are out. I need to. That one's fine. That's just the first two. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, you got to try the freshness. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's just something about a fresh mandarin straight off the tree. Now, we would like to think we were very clever in our mandarin tree purchasing. So we've got what's called emperor mandarins. So you know the little imperial mandarins with the super baggy skin? This is like a late season version of those. So when those are finishing up at the shop, these ones are just ripening up. So we get to have lots. We get to have a nice long mandarin season here. Very nice. That was deliciousness. You need it down there. I agree. You need to. I don't know how it'll go in your climate. I can't imagine it would have any problems. Mandarins like cold climates. They fruit better. So I would definitely look up at your local fruit and veggie plant stockist, so your local plant nursery, and find out if they can get you an emperor mandarin. I think it was emperor mandarin. But yes, very, very nice. And not too big. It did take a few years to fruit, like just because, look, I'm going to be honest with you. It's the quick and the dead here. We don't water the garden. Like in Queensland, we have water shortages all the time. I don't waste water watering the garden. So if it can't survive, it dies. So every now and again, if it's a particularly dry spell and I start to see the fruit trees with their little leaves getting a bit like wilty or starting to curl up, I'll give them a drink because I won't let them die. But for the most part, they have to fend for themselves. So I'm not that person. I'm not like I will prune, I will look after them, but I'm not going to give them water. Oh, brown onions. Like seriously, I'll tell you something. You know when you buy a brown onion and you've only got like a few weeks to use it before it goes bad? I'm going to tell you something. My grandfather grew my grandfather-in-law grew brown onions. They last over 12 months. Like, they last. And so for the brown onions that you buy in the store to start rotting, like, it's infuriating because brown onions last for ages. So, yeah. Yep. So many things. Like tomatoes is another one. Now, I kind of understand why homegrown tomatoes taste better than store-bought tomatoes because store-bought tomatoes are a particular strain, genus, whatever, of the tomato plant. And they are designed to withstand a brick, you know. And so they're designed to handle travel. Your fresh tomatoes can barely make it from the plant to the kitchen without their skin splitting. But it's because they are so bursting with flavour. And that's the difference. Is if you want the good tomatoes, you've got to grow them. It's that simple. It's really hard to buy good tomatoes from the supermarket. If you hit like a farmer's market or something like that, you might be able to get some. But the supermarket tomatoes, they will never compete on flavour because they are competing on transportability. Francis says, I buy all my fruit and veg through a grower's co-op. So fresh and delicious. Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds absolutely amazing. I've been seeing a few more of the little community gardens popping up where people will swap, you know, they're growing something and you're growing something and everyone swaps and, you know, so the whole garden as a whole is growing like, say, 10 veggies, but you might be just growing 1 or 2 and everyone gets a bit of everything. I like that. I think that's great. To quote another YouTube, store-bought tomatoes taste like disappointment. That's exactly right. I love that quote. I love it a lot because that is the truth. That is absolutely the truth. I've started buying more like cherry tomatoes and things like that rather than the big tomatoes from the store. But then last year I started growing my own cherry tomatoes. So they're called Tommy Toes. They're slightly larger than standard cherry tomatoes. They are delicious and it looks like the plant's starting to come back. So maybe by spring I'll have some more. That's all right, Dolores. I understood what you meant. But yeah, by spring we should have some more Tommy Toes ready to go. And that was just a crazy amount of tomatoes, honestly. That was just like constantly every day out there picking like tomatoes. I'm just like, oh yeah, this could have tomatoes in it. I'll put tomatoes in this. This could totally have tomatoes. It's like, how do I use all of these tomatoes before they go bad? We just ate a lot of tomatoes. Unfortunately, Abby doesn't eat tomato. So that left it to me and Tim to eat so many tomatoes. Jen says, I love the idea of growing my own stuff, but I live on a slope, so it's really hard. Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem. And cherry tomatoes get less grubs. Cherry tomatoes are so hardy, honestly. Like, they're those ones that'll just pop up growing randomly in the crack on a pavement because somebody dropped a tomato seed out of their cherry tomato. Actually, Jen, maybe you could try growing a cherry tomato. Like, you know, just one. I don't know. Make tomato-based sauce, freeze. Oh, I'm not going to, honestly, you've got to, like when you're making tomato sauces, you've got to peel the tomatoes, right? Like it's not just a case of cook the tomatoes. You've got to peel them. Can you imagine peeling that many cherry tomatoes to make some sauce? I'm like, I am lazy, right? Like, that's a no from me. I will go and buy my jar of sauce. I will buy my passata. Doesn't mean I don't add extra cherry tomatoes in though. So, yeah. Civet. No. You end up with bits in. Bits will be there. I don't like it. You just score the tomatoes when you boil them and then you peel them. And when you do big ones, it's fine because they come out quite easily. But with the little ones, it's not awesome. It's not awesome. And their skins are thinner, so they might make it through the sieve. I'm looking for excuses to not do it, Lisby. Stop it. But I heard that a really great way for growing tomatoes in colder climates is I had this neighbour and he was growing tomatoes in winter. And I'm like, how are you even growing tomatoes in winter? And what he did was he worked out which side of his house gets the most sun. And he actually put a little garden bed right up against the brickwork of the house and put the tomato stakes in. So the tomatoes got the winter sun, which is not as good for tomatoes, but then they also got the heat off the bricks as well. So, and he used to grow those really big ones, you know, where the single slice does your whole sandwich. There's a particular name. That was so tasty. They were so good. But yeah, so if you've got the ability to put it, even if it's in a pot, if you don't want to put a garden bed up against your brick, which in Australia I don't recommend. But yeah, pop it in a pot up against, or it doesn't have to be like leaning. If it's in a pot, yeah, you could lean it against the house. But the garden, you could have it just so that it needs to have a little bit of air, so the brickwork still gets the full sun. So, Lisby says, I love making my sauce with the cherry tomatoes. It's so much nicer than the bigger tomatoes. Yeah. The steak tomatoes? Yeah, I think so. And they were enormous. He would, as it was growing, he would tie pantyhose around each tomato and tie it to the stake so that the plant didn't have to hold the weight of the tomato. It was a really interesting way to watch it all happen. So, yeah. The things that we do. I had one time here, I was growing, because I used to grow a lot of fruit and veggie, and I was growing pumpkins, and the pumpkin vine grew up into a tree, and there was this pumpkin. It looked like it was growing from a tree, and we had this friend of ours convinced it was a pumpkin tree. It was a squash. It was a butternut squash, and yeah, she was like, she didn't know. She was one of those people that was just like, fruit and veggie comes from the shop. And yeah, so we had to convince that it was a pumpkin tree, and we gave her the pumpkin, like, you know, we're not that mean. We're like, when it's ready, do you want the first pumpkin off the pumpkin tree for this season? But yeah, the pumpkin vine had worked. I've never seen a vine do it. Like, I've seen plenty of vines do it. I've never seen a pumpkin vine climb up like that. It was really funny. But again, we actually had to support the pumpkin because it was up. And so instead of the pumpkin laying on the ground, which is what usually happens, the pumpkin's dangling from the air. And there was no soft spot on the bottom side of the pumpkin, which was great. And we swear somebody around here must have had the big Jap pumpkins or the big Kent pumpkins, because at one year our butternut squashes must have been pollinated with something that had been to both. And we were getting these like weird pumpkin hybrids. Oh my gosh, they were amazing. But they were such a weird shape. It was so funny. Because when it first started happening, I'm like, what's wrong with my pumpkins? And I actually took photos and took it to the garden club because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So there's something happening with my pumpkins. And they're like, oh, it's all right. They've just been cross-pollinated. They're fine. And I was just like, really? They're like, yeah, a bee hit your pumpkins as well as someone else's pumpkins, and your pumpkins have gotten a bit of a boost of some other pumpkin DNA. And I'm just like, that's a thing? And they're like, yeah, that's a thing. It's like, okay. And they were delicious pumpkins. They made the best pumpkin soup. So good. So good. Geez, I like pumpkin. What else have I grown? Eggplants, pumpkins, let me think. Eggplants, pumpkins, cucumbers, snow peas. I tried going capsicum. They don't like the humidity. Celery again. You've got to grow celery in a container, so you need like a plastic bottle, because otherwise they just go. They don't stay up nice. Again, because of the temperature. Tons of herbs, like all the herbs, chilies, like basil, oregano, marjoram, like thyme. So many herbs. Also, the fruit. I tend to not grow as much fruit, honestly. So we do strawberries. We've got the citrus trees. So we've got lemon, lime, and mandarin. We used to have tangelo and tomatillos. They're kind of like tomatoes, but they taste different and have a different. Their skin's thicker. And we also have the cherry guava and the mulberries. So yeah, just a few. But I used to grow a lot more veggies than what I do now. As you speak, I'm going through my seed collection from my veggie garden. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Susanna, I agree with you. There's nothing like eating fresh snow peas. One of the I grew lettuces and carrots and chard and just like rainbow chard. Rainbow chard was so much fun. And we had chickens and just, like so much stuff. But I mean, I spent a lot of my day in the garden. Like, I won't lie to you. These gardens were not, just plant it and wait for it to grow. I was constantly weeding and mulching, and, I was doing stuff with the chicken waste to make it so that it was usable to pour on as a fertilizer. Just so much stuff. No, we worked out it wasn't an avocado tree, that's for sure. I actually think it's a strangler fig. Honestly, I think it's probably killed the avocado that was growing there. But yeah, I don't know. I actually think we should get it cut down personally. Chickens and veggie gardens go so well together. They really do. They really do. Except the chickens need to be locked away, honestly, because the chickens will destroy your veggie garden in about 14 seconds. And they will do it gleefully. They will run in and just rip the crap out of everything. And I swear they're singing and dancing while they're doing it. One time they got into because I had my one of my little veggie gardens all fenced off so they couldn't get into it. And they got in. The little door had been left open. So, yeah. It was not my favourite when that happened. There was much sadness. I tried growing brassicas, like broccolis and things like that. Too many bugs and worms destroyed them. That was very disheartening for me. That's a particular type. It's a weed. It's a weed. So a friend of mine, she has some of her fruit trees in her chook pen. So the fruit fall goes to the chooks, but the rest they can pick. So that's helpful. And then the trees get lots of really good nitrogen and stuff from the chickens. But yeah, just lots of stuff. I'm just trying to think, like, over the years I've grown so many veggies. But yeah, the snow peas, oh my gosh. So what I would do is I had my little basket and I'd go out and I would pick some cherry tomatoes and some snow peas and break off some bits. I would grow like the lettuces that you can just break the leaves off the outside and it would keep growing. Break some leaves off, grab some mint, and just, all sorts of bits and pieces, and then come inside, wash it all, and eat it. And there's lunch. I would have salad for lunch that I grew. The other thing I used to like doing was making rice paper rolls with all the stuff in it and mint and vermicelli and just, yummy. I love rice paper rolls. I'm like, I have rice paper rolls in the cupboard. I could probably make something. I could possibly make something. And now my tummy's like, yes, what should we have for lunch? Chickens are good if you're going to plant fresh seeds or plants. They dig over the soil and they eat the grubs free. Oh, absolutely. Chickens are fantastic. I had chickens for about 12 years. And then when the last batch sort of slowly died out, we decided to have a little break. I'll tell you one thing, we miss the eggs desperately because extra large eggs from the shops are an absolute joke, right? Like, these eggs like what is it? So it's 700 grams for a dozen. Let me just do some math. 700 grams divide 12. So 60-gram eggs. Like that's ridiculous. That's a tiny egg. That's like a, do you even like eggs? Like, why bother? That's a why bother egg? That's like, because my chicken's eggs were enormous. Like, they didn't fit in the extra large cases properly. So we would actually just keep them in a bowl because you couldn't put you could rest them there, but you couldn't close the lid. To stop the snails eating my pick lettuces, I grew them in hanging baskets last year. Worked a treat, and I bought long hooks so the lettuces were face height to pick. That's a great idea. I might have to do that. I've got spots for hanging baskets, so I could totally. I don't use them; they're just hanging off the side of the house. They've been here for years. I could totally add veggies to hanging baskets. Cherry tomatoes from a hanging basket are actually really good as well. You just don't want it to be on a paver because if the fruit falls, it's not awesome. Mint is great in a hanging basket, but you do really have to keep the water up to it. It's very thirsty. It's very, very thirsty. But it also keeps it quite contained because mint, if it gets loose... Well, you know what? Like the worst idea, right? The worst idea is if mint gets loose in your garden, it takes over. But if mint gets loose in your lawn, which has happened in my lifetime a couple of times, when you mow the lawn, oh my gosh, it smells amazing. Oh, yeah, mint in the lawn is not terrible. But yeah, yes, please, I'll have an invite. I'm hungry. Like, dude, I need to go grocery shopping. There's nothing here. Yeah, we've got mint all through the garden. I love mint. Mint is one of those just amazing things that just makes everything taste better. My thing that we've got running rampant is lemongrass. That is not awesome. 0 stars. Do not recommend. Don't let the lemongrass escape the pot. I made the mistake of planting it. I didn't realize the level of mistake until it was too late, and now it's like a noxious weed, and you think you've killed it, and next thing you know, it's all back. And I like lemongrass. I use lemongrass for a few different things. But I don't like it where it's growing. I want it to grow not there. And it's like, no, but we really like it here. This is great. I was about to grab the next colour. I can't grab the next colour because we've got a roll for it. Next colour, so it is dice roll time. There you go.
Dice roll time. Roll the dice.
My tea. So you guys can vote while I pour the tea. I might actually just pour it straight out of the big one like this. Alrighty. Just let me just pour my tea, and then I'll press the buttons. I've made a mess. Luckily, I have a tissue. I mean, I meant it for my face, but I'll use it here instead. There we go. It's all right, Louie. Louie's just come running in like, do you need help? I heard you made a mess. I'm sorry, Lou. It was just a little dribble of tea. I fixed it. Alrighty, let's roll this dice. Okay. It's a 5. It's another 5, everybody. It's another 5. Can you sense my disappointment? Can you sense it? Yes. Oh, that is look at Susanna with all the great ideas. When I netted my cherry tomatoes, I wrapped the netting down under the pot loosely. To pick, I just give it a little gentle shake, untie it with a basket underneath, and the tomatoes just fall out. I love that. Yes, it's another parrot. I mean, it's fine. We need to kind of balance the colours a bit so that we don't run out of one colour. So, it's fine. I'm trying not to be disappointed. It's fine. I'm just keeping an eye on the phone just because, I think sometimes Abby forgets that I'm live streaming. You gardening people are smart. These ideas are awesome. Yeah, I started my first garden because everyone's like, oh, you need so much space for gardening. No, I started my very first garden in long, thin, narrow planter pots from the hardware store. I want to say Bunnings, but I don't know if it was Bunnings. It was a long time ago. On a balcony. And I just had them on the balcony edge. Probably not the safest, but on the balcony edge. And I just planted my herbs that I like to cook with. So I just had a bit of rosemary, basil, thyme, oregano, marjoram, and it was a mint, but it was a different mint. It was a Thai mint, I think. So I had 3 of these containers, and they just had each end just had, what other heaps of colours have doubled up. Heaps of colours doubled up. We've had, let me just look here. Purple's doubled up. Purple's doubled up again. Yellow's doubled up. The Galah has doubled up. The Rooster's doubled up. The Galah's doubled up again. The purple's doubled up again. Lots of colours have doubled up. Look, you know what? When you're broke, right, because I was broke then. When you're broke and you're just having really basic food, adding in just fresh herbs just lifts the meal. And it taught me that even when you're not broke, fresh herbs make everything better. And even just sometimes I just stand out on the balcony and just grab something and just crush it in my fingers and just smell it. It was wonderful. But yeah, you don't need a lot of space. Yeah, sure. You know what? If you want to grow all the vegetables, you're going to need some space. But you can grow a lot in a couple of pots on a balcony. You can grow snow peas, okay? You can grow snow peas on a balcony. You just need a bigger pot, a slightly deeper pot. It doesn't even have to be huge. It's got to have a frame of some description because it likes to climb, and pop a couple of seeds in, and you've got snow peas. This is the thing. Look, I can grow coriander, but it bolts to seed really fast, which is really frustrating considering how much I like using coriander. And I make a salsa for when I'm doing tacos, and it's all coriander with some tomatoes and some lime juice and some corn and just and it takes an entire bunch from the Woolies bunch, and I feel ripped off every time I buy it. But I can't grow it. I can't grow coriander. Dolores picked a purple cabbage yesterday. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I think the most exciting thing I've ever grown that was the most massive money saver was eggplants, because I like moussaka, right? With the layers of, I would fire up the barbecue, grill all the eggplant, and then make the moussaka that way, right? Love moussaka, love it to pieces. But buying eggplants was so, at least then, they were just so expensive. And then they actually grew like a weed. Like, I'm like, who wants eggplant? Anyone want eggplant? I got so much eggplant. There's only so much moussaka I can make. And I don't like eggplant in a lot of things. I really only do like it in moussaka. But and then I'm like, I'll add some eggplant chunks to this stew. I'll add some eggplants to this, oven bake. But yeah, just absolutely. And I grew like 4 different types of eggplants. I grew the big heavy ones because, more slices meant greater coverage. But then realized I like the little thin ones with the white stripes. Like, yeah, that's the advantage. Like when you're growing it yourself, you get to try different versions of your favorites and realize that you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. That's awesome. Oh, and I could grow so much basil that I could make my own pestos. I did buy the pine nuts to put in, and I did buy the parmesan. I've tried making cheese. I've learned how to make a couple of things, so I can make the mozzarella balls. I can make those, and I can make feta. But you know what? I'll just buy it. It's like, I like it, but if I want it, I'll buy it. And I enjoyed learning. But there's so many different things you can go out and learn how to do. Just for something to try, something a bit different, just, I love pesto. There's always a jar of pesto. And that's one thing, like, I'm just starting to, with Abby's encouragement, I'm just starting to revamp up the herb patches because we've got a few little garden beds around, as well as some really big ones that are just overwhelming. And they're totally destroyed. When the chickens trash them and they just end up full of weeds and they're destroyed, right? So some of those big garden beds, they just need to be dug out and redone. And I'm not there. But I've got some small little patches. Like I've got a couple of good little spots that are really useful. So Abby and I have been slowly digging it out, fertilizing it, adding in some new soil, cleaning them out, getting all the weeds out, and then filling them with herbs. So Jen says, working bee, I'll come over anytime. Well, Jen, we might discuss it, but not this week. Not this week. I'm just like, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it yet. But yeah, just, there's some things that just, they take lots of work, and my body's not there. But I've got a couple of little gardens, and then there's one that between me, Tim, and Abby, I reckon we can knock it over. It needs a little bit of, at the moment, it's in a weird spot, right? It's in this spot that now, it used to be next to the pool area, but it was an above ground pool. The pool died. We got rid of it. So there's all grass there now. It's all been flattened out and grassed, right? So now there's this weird rectangular, like really long, like 3 meter long rectangular garden bed in the middle of like grass, because you've got like this one side of grass with it's got all the fruit trees, the garden bed, and then on the other side is just all grass. And it's just like, that's a really good garden bed to work in. It's in a really good spot, gets great sun. But do we just get rid of it and let the grass grow and make it all nice and even, or do we just have a garden bed in the middle of everything? And then if we do just decide to have a garden bed, it does really need some work. It needs to have the, some of the edges replaced but anyway, it's lots of bigger picture ideas. But in the meantime, I got these 2 little herb corners. They're going great. We're just about to start digging out the second one. The first one gave us all our cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes are starting to come back. The strawberries have spread. All the runners have... Louie! Seriously, dude. It's like somebody walking. That's his... You're going for a walk and I want to come for a walk. Bark. Someone's taking their dog for a walk down the street and he wants to go. Oh. So he misses Tim. I don't take him for walks like Tim does. Here we go. Today's been all about gardening. If you want to use the large beds at some stage, instead of digging them out from scratch, consider covering them with a heavy tarp. It will smother the weeds. Dolores, we've tried that, But we have a lot of cobbler's pegs, and they seem to survive that for some reason. It's just, yeah, just it's there's just so many cobbler's pegs, which is the biggest issue here. How big is your block? We have we're on a cul-de-sac, and we've got a piece of pie, and our piece of pie is about 1/4 of an acre. So it's a big block, and we have a little house. So and no garage. So our yard is the biggest part of it. So yeah, just there's a lot of yard. There's a lot of yard. My husband reminds me all the time. It's like, you used to get out here and you used to help, but now you don't. No, I'm looking after it, so maybe we should move. And I'm like, I don't want to move. And it's like, maybe we should move. So, but yeah, no, it's a good size. It's a great size block. I really like our location, and that's why I don't want to move. I like where we are. It's not too far from anything. And it's, for the most part, it's pretty quiet, except for, the occasional annoyance. Leanne says it's a great size block. I think it's like in Australia, the standard house block used to be 600 square meters. Now the standard block is down to more like 400 square meters or 450, and they're putting bigger and bigger houses on it. Dolores says that's hilarious. We have a piece of pie 1/4 acre as well. Really? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, our pie is long sides. So our neighbours have both got long, like, because we're on the end, like they've got pieces of pie too. But we've got 3 neighbours behind us. Technically 4, but one's only about 1/2 metre. But yeah, we've got 3 neighbours along the back. So yeah, it just makes life. It makes life fun. Wait a second, let me just think. This one. No, we've got 3 neighbours, but one of them's 1/2 metre. And believe it or not, they're the most troublesome back neighbours. We cut some trees back from back there, and you should have heard them. Like, oh my God, you've destroyed our privacy. I'm like, all that is up in that back corner was so many trees that it was a problem. Like, as in, they were just, we didn't destroy the trees, we just pruned the trees. Because it was like going over that. We've got a little garden shed up in that back corner that we basically put the lawnmower in. And it was just like trashing the garden shed, so we just trimmed it back. And so they put up this like 8-foot tall bambooing across this one little section of their backyard. And we were just like, dude, like, our yard's on a slope, right? From our house, we aren't even eye-line with the shed, let alone the top of the fence. Like, what are you doing over there? You need so much privacy. I mean, whatever they were doing, they didn't want council to enter their property to fix a plumbing issue. So we were having some plumbing problems, and they wouldn't allow council access. And so we allowed council access to our property. And they were like, we're going to have to bring in some big equipment because we can't get in from the other side, and it's going to need... I'm like, whatever. It's up there. Up you go. If you break something, tell me. If you need to cut back a branch to get your equipment in, let me know. But yeah, I didn't realise you could stop council from entering your property for a plumbing issue. Apparently you can. I'm like, seriously, why would you? The council are willing to actually work on some plumbing. Why would you stop them from doing that? Anyway, that's what I'm like, what are they doing over there? They've got like massive privacy, 8-foot fence. So now I'm suspicious, is what it is. I'm very suspicious of those back neighbours. So, yeah. In saying that, I've actually never had a security problem from them. So, I'm not going to complain. Oh, there you go. So we're a 3-bedroom house on 990 square meters. And Lisby is a 4-bedroom house on a 400 square meter. Bye, Francis. Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm a bit jealous. Have an amazing massage. Enjoy it. Relax. I was thinking it might be something nice to do after retreat. but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'll see. Now I'm like, I wonder if I could bring my massage person, if they could fit me in any time this week. That'd be nice. That'd be a nice outing. But it's like today is Thursday already. I can't believe it's Thursday already, honestly. Yeah, that could possibly be it. Who knows? But it's like way to attract attention. Way to build that intrigue. So I think you'd be pretty silly around here having anything like that in your yard, like visible, because I live in an area where there is constant police helicopters. So, like if the police would probably be able to tell what that looks like from the air, like if they wanted to. So I'm just like, yeah, I probably wouldn't, but you never know what people are willing to do. You just never know. There we go. We've made it to the end again. Beep. I watched a movie yesterday, right? And it's one of those hallmarky, fall in lovey movies. What's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, I'll find out. I'll put it in the fun zone. But I was just like, I recognize that actor from somewhere. I can't think of where, and that's what made me click on it, right? Was like this guy. And I'm like, I don't know where I recognize him from. I just can't think. Anyway, I'm looking at some of the other sort of characters, and I'm like, these are Australian actors. Wait a second. And then like there's the pre thank you to screen Queensland. So they basically filmed this movie up in Queensland, somewhere here. Everyone's talking with an American accent. It cracked me up. And I was just like, they're on some tropical remote place, but everyone's got an American accent, except I'm looking at some of these actors like, I could have sworn you were an Australian actor. Like, well done on the accent. It was just, I have to find it, but it was so beautiful. Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they filmed it up at somewhere like Daydream Island. Like, if there are shots from Daydream, I would not be shocked at all. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Okay. Cool. I know what I'm doing. We have a single-story house on a quarter-acre block, but all the properties around us are developed with double-story duplexes on them. So now our backyard has zero privacy. Front yard is still okay. Yeah, our neighbours on one side, they're a double-story, so they can just see straight into the yard. But we've got trees planted along the fence line. So, and you know what? There's nothing to see anyway. Like, if they want to look at our trees, they can look at our trees. If they want to drool over our lemons or limes, I actually think, because that was my friend Andy's house, and I mean, he was growing beautiful citrus over there. So they probably got their own citrus. I probably should warn them, if they decide to grow any passion fruit on the fence, all the fruit end up on my side. I just say it's because of how the sun falls and everything. All the fruit always really annoyed Andy. He'd be like, "Can you throw me some passion fruits, please?" I'm like, what are you trading me for? And he's like, "The rest of the passion fruit." I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good deal. Because I tried growing passion fruit here. We had there was a piece of trellis that was just, it was like they'd created this privacy screen to this weird corner of the block that they were just dumping all the palm fronds in, which was just seemed odd. Anyway, so there's this big giant piece of trellis staked into the ground. So we were like, we'll just grow some passion fruit on it. Couldn't grow a passion fruit on it. No idea why. Then that fencing behind it is where my neighbour was growing his passion fruit. So I actually had to clear the fronds to be able to get to this. I'm like, It is a meter away. What are you doing different? What did you put that in? Is that in a pot? Like, how are you making it grow? And it's like, I just shoved it in the ground. And I'm like, that's what I did. Mine didn't work. So, yeah. I just want to grow passion fruits because passion fruits are delicious and I love passion fruits. And they're expensive at the shop. So that's my next goal, is to grow some passion fruits. I used to make lemon butter out of my own lemons because I've got a lemon tree as well. And I used to make a 3-fruit marmalade where I would use no, not lemons. I would use a lime, a mandarin, and a store-bought orange because I don't grow oranges. And I get like 8 jars of marmalade with those 3 bits of fruit. Like this little jars. But yeah. So good. So good. But yeah, so I used to make lemon butter, and I love passion fruit curd as well. So I want to make passion fruit curd. And yeah, all those things. Who here has made melting moments with the passion fruit icing? Because they are my favourite biscuits in the entire world. But they have to have the passion fruit icing. They can't have the plain one boring. I need the passion fruit icing. I'm seeing the chat move over there. Let's have a look. Here we go. Holly loves passion fruit. Absolutely. Alison says, backyard we use for fruit and veggie growing along with the chickens, and we use the front yard for entertaining. Front yard has tall hedges around, so still good privacy. That's awesome. We have basically like a little bit of front yard, but we have mostly side yard and a bit of backyard. Because our house and everything's sort of all on one side, like you go in the driveway and the house and everything's on one side, and then we've got all the greenery down the other side. So it's like a long side yard that goes from the front yard all the way to the backyard. Look, I don't mind it. It's fine. There is a lady who sells gluten-free passion fruit melting moments. I make my melting moments with corn flour. So, yeah. I'm not surprised that she can make them gluten-free as long as she's buying the proper gluten-free corn flour. And you can't assume all corn flours are gluten-free because they are not. But yes, absolutely love. Actually, Tim goes out, like he has a church group that he goes to. And every now and again they have like these cupcake days where they're fundraising for something or other. And he brings home these insane cupcakes. The last time he brought me home a hummingbird cupcake. And my tummy just went, I want a hummingbird cupcake right now. And think about passion fruit, which then made me think about pineapple. So, yeah. We used to have good mobile reception. I suspect it's the taller homes around us. Yeah, look, we had a problem with our television reception. And we actually had to get someone come out and put an extension on our TV antenna because of all the development between us and the tower. I want to say tower. I don't know how TV stuff works. But yeah, we had to get an extension put up on our digital receiver. I forgot to say that they are for sale at the Surfers Paradise Markets, and everything she sells is gluten-free. That is awesome. That is special. There's a place at the Hyperdome that does gluten-free donuts. I haven't tried them. They look lovely, but I have not tried them. Because normally I'm like, I'll be good. I won't get a donut. I'll be good. And then by the time I've gotten home, I bought some evil to eat because I can't help myself. I shouldn't call it evil. It's just food. They're a donut shop that seasonally make passion fruit pavlova donuts, and they are so good. That sounds amazing. I would try that because I love pavlova and I love passion fruit, and I also like donuts. Or I could just make a pavlova with passion fruit and cream. I'd have that with berries. I like raspberries. Raspberries are my favorites. Dolores says, now I'm hungry. We do this every time. I need to have better breakfasts on live stream days so I'm not hungry, so we don't talk about food. Oh my gosh. But I thought I had a high protein porridge this morning. It was probably not enough. It's probably just not enough. Also, we just talk about food. It's just something we can all talk about. You know, I mean, yeah, we're all over the world, but we like a lot of the same things. or are interested in the same things anyway. Claire's out there digging a garden, I think. She's like, I'm growing some stuff now. I'm growing some stuff. I actually think learning how to grow something that you like to eat is a reward. It's just like, it's one of those things where you're like, oh my God, it's ready. That's how I feel about the mandarins, right? Because I absolutely love mandarins. But I'm watching them and they're still green and they're still green and they're still green. And then all of a sudden they're not green anymore and you're like, it's ready. And you run out and you pick one and you just stand there. That's the advantage of mandarins. You don't need to wash it because you just got to peel it. But you just stand there and just eat it. And you're just like, oh my God. Dolores says, I just ate a full bowl of porridge. It doesn't compare to passion fruit pavlova donuts. You're right. You're right, Dolores. You're absolutely right. Alison says, I had toasted cheese sandwich and coffee for breakfast. Look, I've had coffee as well. Yeah. Claire says, haha, I wish. It's really windy here. Good day to be inside. Yeah. It's actually not windy here, I don't think. I think that's why the birds are going off so hard. They're like, woohoo! Okay, I'm going to top up my tea again. This time we'll see if I make as much mess. The Yeti's not really designed to pour it into a cup. It's designed to drink out of. But sometimes I like a cup. Excuse me, sorry. Tea went down, or a little bit of the tea went down a wrong spot. So I've been consciously trying to watch some independent films. So I watched one the other day called Galah. It was a science fiction film. It was good-ish. You know, independent science fiction's always there's always that little edge of like hinky. Because they just don't have the same sort of budgets. But I would say it was pretty darn good. It had a good story. It had a great story. And the sort of the lack of, you know, Star Wars level CGI was made up for with the absolute great storytelling. Teresa, welcome to the chat. New here. Well, Teresa, we don't always talk about veggie gardens. Listening to you all talk about veggie gardens, my husband grew tomatoes and peppers and bell peppers. We make our own salsa, and he makes pineapple habanero jelly. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. I've only grown, I've grown the little hot bird's eye chilies. And I've grown the bigger green chilies, but they weren't the jalapenos or the habaneros. They were very mild. They weren't spicy at all, but they were tasty. And I used to make chili jam with all my little spicy chilies and then mixed them with the not quite as spicy ones. I learned the hard way that chili jam can be too hot. But wow, that sounds amazing. Oh, that's a very kind welcome, Dolores. Thank you. Alison says, unless you have a problem with pollen, it's really high here today. Oh, is it? You're down in Victoria, aren't you? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my plan today is to hang out inside. After the live stream, I'm going to make some lunch, and then I've got to do some like computer work, which, yeah, exciting, not. So I've got to get some stuff done, some website updating, order some stuff. I'm just amazed how you hold that hook. I've tried and can't do it. He gives it away to friends and they love it. He has jalapenos as well. Oh my gosh. Look, I think when it comes to holding your hook, you just find the way that works for you. I know, like I started out being an overhand user, like this. So you put your hand over the top, and sort of, you know, that's how I started many years ago. And that's how I used to crochet all the time. And I find that if I'm Tunisian crocheting, I hold my hook this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then if I'm using a hook that's really big, I will hold my hook also this way. but it feels wrong now. And look, this used to be my go-to. Like, this is how I learned. This is how I crocheted for many years. And I actually had a friend who was watching me crochet, and apparently it was like a train wreck. She, ordering yarn does not count. Oh, you be quiet. It totally does. And she was like, it's like watching a train wreck. It's horrible. So she actually was like, taught me how to hold it with the pencil method. And at first, I didn't enjoy it. And like anything, you trial anything new, it feels alien in your hands. And if you persevere with it, you get some muscle memory. But there's no right or wrong. Like, do you get the hook? Do you get the fabric that you like? Is there an issue? Is there a problem that you don't like? Then how you're holding it is fine. We all do slightly different things. Like, then there's also the people that right along the tops of their stitches, then there's the people that pull on their stitches. So their stitches, like me, stitches become a little longer, they're not as short. Everyone does something just a little bit different, but at the end of the day, if you get what you like out of it, then keep going. If you're not happy with it, change it up. See what doing one of the other different methods does for you. But you just need to be aware it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird for a while. It's like when you're learning how to knit and then changing knitting style. So I went from an English thrower to a continental knitter, and same sort of deal. It felt very weird, but everyone told me continental knitters knit faster. And I was just like, do they? Because I know some English knitters who knit exceptionally fast. But for me, the continental knitting did speed up my knitting because it did feel more like crocheting to me. So, there's pros and cons to all the different ways that we do things, and you just work the way that sits and feels good for you, because at the end of the day, you're the one sitting there crafting. Leanne says, I made chili jam once. That was great. I made the following season. Sadly, not so good. Oh, that's disappointing. Alison's growing lots of peas. That's the thing, we used to grow beans. Tons of beans, all different kinds of beans, because beans were fun and Abby loved them. So we got some really long ones and some speckly ones, and she wouldn't eat any of them, but she liked to grow them when she was a kid. Blowing a gale and lots of pollen, hiding inside to avoid it. Yeah, game widows. That sounds like a plan. Ordering yarn does not count as work. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does count as work. Legit. Can somebody grab one of the mods? Can you grab my Knitpicks, my Knitpicks code, like my Knitpicks link, please? Knitpicks are having a 40% off of some of their tools. So if you're a Knitpicks lover of their tools, which I am, you guys know that. I like lots of their yarns. I like lots of things. They're having up to 40% off sale on some of their tools. So please use my link. It's an affiliate link. I do get a little commission at no additional cost to you. You still get the full discount if that item has the discount. And there might be something there that you'll absolutely love. Thank you, Kelly, for popping my link in. If you follow that link, it's actually the homepage. It's got like the big 40% off. Like, I saw it come up in some other feed and I was just like, wait, what? Was that the email I got last week? Knitpicks let me know when they're having some of their sales a little bit early. And I'm like, oh, right, cool. And I meant to tell you guys at the start of the stream and I forgot, but there it is there. We got it in there before the end. But yeah, Knitpicks are having a sale. Their Knitpicks ball winders are great. I don't know if they're in the sale. Apparently they're selling some hooks and some other bits and pieces. So there might be something in there for you. There might not be, but definitely worth checking out. Definitely. What am I doing here? Oh, she did. Let me look here. Oh, Teresa is an overhanded crochet. Yeah, it's like in the chat, put in if you are overhand or underhand. Well, we actually call it pencil grip or knife grip. So pencil or knife. So pop in the chat. We can have a look. We can see who's who. I mean, that'd be a great Actually, that'd be a great poll that I could put in, but I have not. Kelly Pole is a knife holder, so Kelly holds hers like this. Holly holds hers like a knife. Dolores holds hers like a knife. Game Widows holds hers like a knife. Bub Curran is pencil. Bianca is like a knife. Leanne is like a knife. Teresa is a knife. Pencil grip for Christina. Crochet with Claire is like a knife. Vampire is like a knife. More of you are knife holders than pencil holders. So, yeah. And thank you, everyone, for putting it in the chat. I appreciate that. Crochet, Claire says a poll. Yes, to the poll. That's why we were kind of hoping for an 8, because then you get to go and vote on a straw poll that I've created with all pretty pictures. Yeah, mostly knife holders. Josephine is a pencil holder. Sue Ellen says that she's a pencil holder, but her yarn holder style is different. I've seen some amazing crocheters, like, you know, because I mean, my yarn holding style is weird, right? Like, I get it. It's just weird, but it lets me tension my yarn in a way that I get no cramps in my hand. So it works for me. But I've seen plenty of people that are like, they crochet and they wrap, and they wrap the yarn like it's a physical. See, I automatically do it, but they physically wrap the yarn. And I've seen people who, like there's so many ways. There's so many different ways. And if you are happy, it's the right way for you. Kelly says you're all stabby. You are all stabby. You're all knife holders and stabby. So I'm now concerned to be around all of you. And I'm glad that we worked this out after a retreat where I was actually in physical proximity to some of you. Knitspin Girl says that she holds her hook like a knife as well. Jennifer says she's a pencil holder and an English thrower. Oh, there you go. So I'm a pencil holder and a continental knitter. So, or do you mean you actually like, because like some people, like I've seen it and I don't know how to do it, but I've seen people like, you know, throw the yarn over their hooks. And they do it fast. It works for them. It doesn't work for me. I don't know how to do it. There's so many different things. I screwed that up. I've got to fix that stitch. I don't even know what I was doing there. No idea what I'm doing. I'm just making stuff, just crocheting. So if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy our live streams. There's lots for you to watch. There's productivity streams that you can sit back and put on. They've got some sort of lo-fi beats happening so you can get your housework done. Leanne says, I did try to swap to pencil holding, but I gave up. Yep, you don't need to change. Alison says, I saw that but decided to order a jumbo size woolly winder and a couple of bobbins for my shack side kick spinning wheel instead. I mean, seriously, yes. Like, why not? But English throw, knife holder, English shot. So many of you are knife holders. So yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize how few of you were pencil holders. So there you go. Yeah, Claire, that's the thing. I've seen it too, and I don't know how they make it happen. They do hold their yarn and their hook in the same hand. And I mean, I get it, because if you're an English knitter, you do get used to, you know, that would be it. So it's, yeah, that would do it. But yeah, it feels very weird to me. Very weird. I shall go back and crochet how I like to. But as long as we get the stitches that we want, it's the same for knitters. As long as you're getting the stitches sitting and looking how you want them to, that's all that matters. Okay, it is dice roll time, everybody. Final dice roll of the day.
Time. Roll the dice. Choose the next colour.
Yarn 1 is not on special. Oh, Bianca, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll have to have a good dig in and see what there is. All right, so we've had 2 5s already. Let's see what we get. Still want bright yellow, please. So that's a 7. You want the 7? Let me see what we can do. Is this a first? Is this a first? It's another 5. Can you see that? It's another 5. We have 3 5s in a row, everybody. I think it's a first. I think we've had plenty of doubles, but we've never had a triple. Double, double. I know we've had like a double, then another color, and then then that color again. Like there's a purple somewhere. Oh, we did double purples, double yellows, then a purple. Gosh. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's when the dice choose the colors. The dice choose the colors. So we've had that's 3 5s in a row. I mean, it needed to catch up on the red. We haven't used the red for a while, so Parrot's back. Okay. Oh my gosh. Face orange, raised eyebrow, purple face cream. Oh my gosh. Yes, I agree with those emojis. When I look at them, when I read what they are, not so much. My dice is faulty. No, I must have 3 faulty dice. We made the decision at the start to use 3 different dice. This is a commercial dice. These are 2 handmade dice. So, you know, like this is just how it is. A trio of red will mark something. Maybe halfway actually. I mean, you know what? You could be right. Yes, I'm guessing you're cringing. I am cringing. Yes, I'm like, oh, gosh, okay. But this is random, and in true randomness, there are duplicates and triplicates and quadruplicates, and in true randomality, sometimes things bunch up. Louis is losing his mind over something out there. Louis. He's like, I really want to go outside. There's something I want to see. Hang on a second. Wow. And the microphone's picking him up so well. So we're nearly at the end of our stream. So hopefully Louis can just calm down because he won't listen to me. And I'm not going to walk away with only a couple of minutes to go. I'm going to cough again. Louis! I think maybe he's annoying me more than you. We'll get the red in. He can wait. This is his dobbing on somebody. So Macy's done something he doesn't like. So he's come in to dob on her. Because he's a dobber. Can we make a re-roll after a double to prevent a triple? No. Hang on. Louis! You need to stop it. Do you want a schmackos? Do you want schmackos? It's like, yes. Yes, I want schmackos. Well, then you have to be quiet for like 2 minutes. No schmackos for Louis. Unless it's like, you know, a lizard in the house or something. It's terrifying. Now I'm scared. It could be something terrible. So this is, Teresa, this is the Mosaic crochet blanket from Crochet with Claire. The link is in the description. And we are letting the dice control our color changes. So we have 7 colors. I'll just jump over here. So when we get an 8, we jump over onto this other screen here. So, oops, I'll just remove the parrot. So these are all the colors that we can get if we roll the dice for them. So yeah, it is definitely lots of color choices, but we have been getting all parrot today. So yeah. back to this one. Hey, you need to stop. It's not going to stop. All right. Well, lovely friends, it is now time. And as Louis is not going to stop, I'm going to stop. So we're going to go back up here. And I'm going to go. I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Hopefully Louis will be a bit calmer. And you guys have a fantastic week. Kick back your feet, crochet something, knit something, create something. And I'll see you all next time. Bye now.